Even during the current downturn within the Toronto/GTA real estate market, within the pre-construction condo sector, there is a lot of development still occurring. Obviously at different varying stages, a lot of projects merely right now in proposal stage, a lot of projects in pre-launch, a lot of projects in VIP, launch, so on and so forth. But there are two that really grabbed my attention, and I think these two pre-construction projects that are launching in 2022 are not only interesting in of themselves, but further help to drive home a point that I was making a while back with regards to the eastern half of the downtown Toronto condo market. That and much more in today's video. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, you can find my contact information on the screen and in the description box. If you have any further questions from this video or any other videos or any general inquiries whatsoever, feel free to use the contact info on the screen and in the description to get in touch with me. And feel free to just simply Google my name for my Google reviews to go through them to see what type of feedback my clients and others have provided in the past. Now, the two pre-construction projects with regards to, particularly in this case, pre-construction condo projects in the downtown area that I refer to are not only interesting and worthy of coverage because of their quality, and I'm generally a fan of their builders, but also I think they accentuate a point, a general theme that I have established on this channel, which we will get to. But let's start with the first one, the first project that I'm excited about that I think is important to talk about. Here we're talking about Elektra Condos, which is already at VIP selling stage right now at this current moment. Let's simply start with the facts here. It's located at 218 Dundas, which takes us into the eastern half of downtown Toronto, southeastern downtown Toronto. Project brought to you by Menkes, one of the better developers / builders out there. For my personal taste, I do not think they're on the level of a Tridel or a Great Golf. But you have to understand, if you've watched this channel for a long time, I really like those two. So just know that's just my opinion. But they are surely, without a doubt, I think popular consensus would have it that they're in the upper tier of builders within the city of Toronto. Before we get into more on the location and why it's important, let's just cover some of the simple facts here. 48 stories here. We're looking at 48 stories. Suite sizes range from as small as 375 square feet, obviously the bachelor units, to suites around 900 to 1,000 square feet. So on the upper end, it's actually a bit smaller here. Now, I, at this moment of recording of this video, do not have the exact floor plans or the price lists, but once I do get those, you'll be the first to hear. And maybe I'll do a pre-construction condo review as I have done in the past. Check those videos out. Nonetheless, if I do a pre-construction condo review or not, you're gonna get it as soon as I get it via my newsletter, which the link to my newsletter is in the description box. Nonetheless, I digress. It's most likely going to start construction in 2023. Estimated occupancy here is 2027, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's pushed back towards 2028. And they have a pretty piecemeal, lengthy, distributed deposit structure here, as you can see. And you're also looking at around 500 units. Now these are just the basic facts. I will cover it more in detail in terms of floor plans, prices in a future video. Nonetheless, what I really want to draw your attention to here, and I want to reroute back to the address for this, which is 218 Dundas, is the location. The location, I think, is key. So here, if we pull up the location and we're going to do our best pre-condo impression here, we see that it's located right here between George Street and Sherbourne. Now, for the longest time, I've said particularly this corridor you see right here along Dundas Street, past Jarvis, up to where we start Regent Park, the Regent Park area, which you can argue kind of starts at Parliament, but really we're talking about here around Sackville, Regent, and of course Sumac as well. For the longest time, I have reiterated that this area is underdeveloped and quite undervalued. And let's be honest, the situation there is sometimes very sketchy. For the longest time, that corridor, that stretch has not been the safest along Dundas Street. And what's most interesting, and this is another thing we will talk about when we talk about the second project, is that Regent Park itself has come a long way. Even though it's the most developed pocket, it still for some people has a certain stigma. So essentially, to boil it down, this project that we're talking about with regards to 218 Dundas by Menkes is yet another example of what I discussed in the past, which is the stretch between Jarvis and Regent Park is going to see a lot of development in the coming years. The builders have ran out of lots on the west side of the city, and in this portion, not just by Dundas, but I'm just using Dundas as an example, contains some of the vacant parking lots, some of the gas stations going for 70 million, some of the abandoned apartment buildings or purpose-built rentals that are depreciated or depreciated storefronts that builders can use to develop on. And this is really key here because this feeds into Regent Park. Regent Park, a pocket that has already been developed a lot. And let's now talk about the second project, shall we? Which is Daniels on Parliament. And as we said, Parliament is where, you can argue Regent Park kind of starts. And Daniels on Parliament is obviously by the builder Daniels. The fact that it's Daniels is very key because Daniels really took the initiative to really do a master plan community in Regent Park. The Regent Park revitalization program was spearheaded by Daniels because all the Regent Park buildings, the major ones, are Daniels buildings. And this will make the westernmost Regent Park Daniels building at 365 Parliament. And we will once again reroute back into the location to really emphasize the point I'm trying to make here and I've made for a long time. Go watch that video where I kind of planted the seeds. But more about this Daniels project, which is yet another pre-construction project within the Downtown Toronto core. This, unlike the first project, is a mid-rise, 25 stories, 104 units starting around 370 square feet, but the upper end here is higher in terms of 1,200. You're looking at the largest units being around 1,200. Sales for this have not yet started to my knowledge. VIP sales will start very, very shortly though. And once again, it resides at 365 Parliament. But to really drive home the point here, we have to understand what Regent Park was before what we currently see. Because there has been a lot of development, as I have already repeated in this video, in Regent Park, spearheaded by Daniels in a master plan community type of sense. Regent Park is much better. Regent Park, you have a perfect mixture of high, mid-rises, low-rises, townhomes. Of course, you have the actual park. You have soccer fields. You have athletic centers. You have community centers, pools. And so little of this existed before the revitalization project. And if we currently look at the site at 365 Parliament, we see that it's just mere minutes away from where the first project we talked about in terms of Elektra by Menkes is. So in summary, and this is really the crux of the point here, what we initially had was a very underdeveloped area in Regent Park that saw a influx of immediate and I would argue successful development, but this pocket remained somewhat siloed. Meaning while this pocket was being developed successfully, the intermediary between Regent Park and what most people would consider core downtown, as you guys see here, was and has been quite underdeveloped. So this pocket of development was somewhat detached from the rest of the downtown core. Well, now that's no longer the case, as evidenced by these two projects and more projects to come up. And that's why I consider Regent Park currently to be undervalued and honestly still a very, very good buy low opportunity. Of course, there are more macro market conditions in place, the downturn in the current market, which I have discussed ad nauseum, but in a vacuum, I would confidently have to say that Regent Park has a lot of high upside when the market does take a turn. Anyways, let me know if you have any further questions about topics covered in this video or any other video whatsoever. As always, my contact information in the description box or on the screen as well. Feel free to get in touch with me with any of your questions. Thank you very much, sir, for watching. Stay safe, stay tuned, and yeah, enjoy your weekend. Thank you.